There you go.
Now we're really ready. All right.
So, a couple of things that happened recently. I think that we are planning on recapping. Correct, Georgia? But there's nobody else on the call, right? I only saw Justin Monica.
Yep, that's
Yeah,
it.
that's it. And then
Okay.
the next thing is deliverables and old business, which is recapping on the Acre Summit.
Yeah. Val, you didn't make it to Acre, or were you at Acre?
No, I didn't go.
Okay. I don't know why I feel like I just saw you, but it just maybe
You
just
did.
feels
We
like
keep
I just
seeing
saw
each
you.
other here and there.
Uh, Jess, do you want to give us a quick little thought about what you thought about the Acre Summit?
Me?
Sorry to throw you on the spot. Yeah, you're the only Jess on the call.
Wait, which Acre Summit are we talking about?
The
The
event
one
at
that we just did at IFAS, the extension office, and was that January?
Oh yeah. Of course. Sorry, I'm sick, D. I know you jumped on after, but
Oh,
so I'm just like, well, so I was excited to learn about what all of the groups were doing, and just kind of come in and see what's going on. And then Dee and Georgia had put together a really nice compilation of the goals that they were trying to achieve for this working group, and kind of like a timeline. And we had some really good discussion within our working group there.
So I
and then you
can.
were, go ahead,
What's
Georgia.
that? Sorry. Oh,
No,
I
go
was
ahead.
just gonna say I brought up the presentation so that I could do like just a quick recap for Val, and sort of talk about what were some of the goals that we looked to achieve on that day, and then we can talk about where we landed with it. So some of the things, Val, that we were essentially what we were trying to do was every get all of our shareholders like into a room, right? Are you good? I can take a minute. Or like feel free to come. Yeah, that's fine.
But go ahead.
Yeah. So some of the things that we really wanted to make progress on, or at least start to get out there, were we need 3 more members at large for this group. So I know we talked about it a little bit, and we sort of came up with who we thought our sort of emergency contacts would be, who could do it if we can't find anybody else, and wouldn't just necessarily be a placeholder, but would be willing to participate. One of those people is Kitty Wallace, and she I know reached out to you, or you reached out to her, but some way she put me in touch with you about your interest. And I saw that you did go ahead and fill out the application. So the application is live, and then I think this might be a little bit out of order, but I think one of the next steps is that we need to post it onto the platform. And if we could send it out in an email blast, Monica, I think that would be really great. So that we can just collect those applications and take a look at them. Does that, do you think that's something we could do? Send it out in an email blast?
Yeah, no, for sure. It's kind of the same process where if you want to kind of like send me exactly what you want me to like copy and paste. And last time I like went and made that little graphic. And so whether you want me to reuse that or if you want something new, you should make that. I will say I am next week out of office. That it might be something that I can just like hop on my computer and do real quick. But if it's something you want out next week, then we'll
get it to you this week.
Otherwise, I can be a little more intentional about like meeting a deadline if you can like communicate that to me.
Yeah, and I don't think it's going to be anything too intense. I think we can probably get it to you, tomorrow. Just because I don't think it's maybe just the graphic. I'm not sure. My day is a little bit packed after this, but I can maybe do something from my phone or C or D if you're available to make just a graphic, essentially letting people know that that's what we're looking for. We're looking for 3 members at large. I did break it into a couple suggested types of members just to help maybe get those juices flowing for people who were thinking, I don't know if I qualify, and just gave a few options. So something like a grower voice, a systems and logistics thinker, and then a connector and partner perspective. So those were some of the options. They don't have to fit into those. Those were just things that I put on there just to say, hey, what do you guys, do you fit into any of these categories? And we did get a systems and logistics thinker with Krista Lynn. And I think we wanted to do the application, but I also think Dee and I were pretty in agreement on Krista Lynn as the project manager piece. So if you still agree with that, then I would say we could go ahead and reach out to her and either ask her to do the application as a formality or just start inviting her or confirm that she has the availability to make it to the meetings.
I agree. We can definitely at least just have her do the application for formalities and check her availability.
Okay, cool. All right, so I'm gonna write that down. We're going to ask her to do it for formalities. And then just if you're interested as well, I think that is something that would be really cool to have you apply. You're really plugged in, you're here, and you have a lot of insight into what the growers, right, and the community are doing through your thesis. I think that's the right word. But yeah, I think that would be great to have you guys apply, and then we wanted to just open it up because we don't know what we don't know, right? We don't know who might be out there that we don't exactly know yet. But that was one of the bigger items on our list. Next, we kind of presented what our goals for basically towards October of 2026 are. So we talked about what our consistently reported challenges are. So inconsistent labor, limited post-harvest storage, distribution and coordination gaps, and work happening in isolation. Do you have any questions on? Okay, I'll just move forward then. Beautiful. Okay. So we did talk about some priority initiatives. We had 2 phases. And one of the things that we want to sort of narrow down that we didn't get to is looking at what that timeline and budget might look like for these phases. And some of that we just weren't able to figure out because we're still figuring out personnel. So phase 1 was a shared cold storage and post-harvest infrastructure. And the good news is that Economic Development Working Group is interested in, I think, kind of taking that on. So it sounds like they've really taken the reins. So I think if we can just work in conjunction with them, that might be the best. And allow us to move forward with something like the tool library. Because I know like Nicole Doobie has contacted me and they've already set up some site visits for refrigeration and things like that. So if we want to maybe act as sort of a supporting role for them in whatever's possible, but maybe go ahead and take that off of our plate and let them run with that. I think would be good, and we can focus on our grower collaboration and shared tool library. So what that looks like is shared tools, shared calendars, and things like peer support. I think one of the things that we do have is peer support. It's pretty strong, and I think just finding ways that we can like open that up to maybe new people. I do think we are pretty good at bringing new people in. I mean, I met Val, I think, a year ago. That's what I mean. Yeah, you found me, and then I've just tried to tell you about every meeting that I go to or group that I'm involved in. But those are some of our goals: is that shared tools, calendars, which would be looking at growing calendars and seeing if we could find ways that maybe we're not all growing the same things, right? So that we don't have sort of a market flood. And then the tool library. So we have some progress on the tool library, and I can show you a little bit more of that, or we can talk about it today. And then phase 2 was collaborative distribution. So it was sort of a harvest hub, which is in conjunction with that post-harvest handling and cold storage is like aggregation and shared distribution routes. So things like where Food Access Group is working on getting some healthy neighborhood stores in possibly Sulphur Springs and seeing if there's a way that we can sort of lower those barriers to participation by saying like, can we get all the food maybe in one place? Right. So like if you're harvesting things, right now I'm taking stuff to my house. So if there's a way that we could have something, we had talked about SLP because of its like central location, and our solar power and being able to sort of aggregate it there, as well as like we're doing a few different markets and things like that. And then grow our institutions and partnerships. So then going in, once some of that is set up and looking at our schools, hospitals, things along those lines. As far as where we actually got with those, we found that a project manager would be really helpful. And we happen to have two of them at our table. That's Crystalline and Allison. And Crystalline was the one that was able to commit to coming in, and we just need to follow up with her because it's been about a month now, just to make sure that that's still something she can do, and overall inviting more growers to these meetings. So is that anything you want to add on the recap, Dee or Jess?
No, that was actually pretty thorough. I did have a question for Monica and Savannah just to make sure that that was okay. The collaborative effort or project idea where we're going to go ahead and let the other group kind of take the reins on one of the things that was one of our priorities. Super cool, right? Because at the end of the day, we're all still working together. Okay, cool.
Yeah. And I mean, if you want to like combine your funding to make it a bigger part of it and then still have a role, like that also is acceptable. We're glad, you know, we know there's going to be overlap and stuff. So especially if you want to make it a better project, you can combine your funding but work on it together, you know.
Okay.
I don't think any of that's quite been like defined yet. I think we're all in like that sort of information finding phase still. But I would like to, so something else that has happened is we set up co-chair meetings. So after the other two groups meet, I think the week before us. And then after this meeting, I don't know, you know best, but basically after the three groups have their monthly meeting, the co-chairs are getting together to sort of just update each other on everything that's going on. But I think it's pretty open as well. Like if you wanted to join, you're more than welcome. It was more of something that we didn't want to make it like, you know, required, so that, you know, we could make sure we cover all of that overlap.
That's important if you're going to co-partner.
For sure. And that's where it came from, was essentially realizing in this summit how much overlap there was, and that there were ways that, like we could partner to maybe achieve something larger instead of a bunch of smaller things, or just see what makes the most impact, essentially. So that's our acre recap, and I would say I'd like to just pick a couple sort of deliverables, I guess, to make sure that next time we talk, we have something that is moved forward, as opposed to just saying like, yep, we talked about it. And so I was thinking, so we have the email blast and for the application. And then I have noticed that, go ahead.
I'm sorry, on those applications, the 3 you're looking for, that's the minimum. You're welcoming more than that, right?
So the way that the leadership of the working groups works is that there's 2 co-chairs and 3 members at large, and then anyone can join the meetings.
As visitors, that would be fine, right? Okay, just got a few people in mind.
Yeah, we would love for you to invite them, and
Right.
we were specifically inviting like you and Jess and a few others to apply as members at large, which is the required 2-hour meeting per month. Exactly. And then anybody, these are open, these are also recorded, so if they wanted to catch up, things like that, they are more than welcome to like join in. In fact, we would really, really like to have more folks
to have more personal contact.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think that's part of why we have gotten kind of to where we are is we need more people involved, so that we can ask them to do things like I have noticed when I went to look for this meeting that we don't have a secretary to post these things. So that's something I think that, once we get those applications in, we would be looking at. But in the meantime, I was going to ask if there was anybody that would be willing to, once I make sort of the graphic and the copy for the email blast, I can send it to anybody if they want to post it onto the platform.
I'm not sure what you're asking.
Okay.
We are just launching this week our website because we're doing our start launch. It's been a long journey, guys. So are we starting off with like connecting with the smaller gardens or private gardens and having them link in to us?
Yeah, we can. We want to go ahead and invite them, but the thing that I'm kind of talking about right now is that application that you filled out for the leadership.
Okay.
So Dee and I had discussed sort of allowing it. It's been open, but closing it. I think you said a week or 2 weeks before the April meeting.
Yeah, before the April meeting, so that we have time to look.
Okay.
So what I was asking is if there was anybody that once I sort of make it would be willing to post it on the Homegrown Hillsborough platform.
But you would have to have access to your general platform.
Everyone has that. You're on the platform. Yeah.
You have access. Yeah. Okay, so I'll send it to you.
I'm like, you're on there. Don't worry.
But it's actually March, the week before the March meeting. Sorry.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Sorry. Thank you. So Val will post it for us, and I will make sure that it gets to you and Monica.
We'll make sure it gets done.
And Georgia, we can chat later if you want me to do the graphic. We can chat tonight, work on that.
Yeah, if you get a chance. I'm running around for the rest of the day, so if you get a chance, like feel free to just go for it. One of the things I find that works best is like make a mock-up and then just say, hey, what do you think?
Yep, I got you.
Because I feel like sometimes, we end up waiting around to like chat with each other, not us necessarily, but in general. And the more efficient way is like make one and then make changes from there. So awesome. If you get a chance, if not, we'll talk about it tonight or tomorrow. Does that sound good, Dee?
Yeah. I'll send you something by 3 a.m. You'll have something.
Love it. All right, awesome. So then I would say, our next thing, that's our acre feedback. And I feel like those are
like feedback to the event. So like, we got a lot of recap, but if you work better as organizers, or if in the future you guys organize it, how could it be better? If there's any thoughts.
Not that she said if we organize it, Lord have mercy.
Wait, what'd you say?
I was like, not that she snuck in the future if you guys organize it. See how she's
Yeah. I don't know that we would organize it quite as effectively. I'm not really sure, but
practice. That's what we got good.
Yeah. I think for most of us, or at least for me, I just didn't know what to expect, even though it's not that it wasn't laid out. It was just more that we hadn't done it before. So I had like a vague expectation, right? Because we did talk about like there was an agenda and like, all of those things. And I think it seemed pretty great for the other working groups. The only feedback that I have for us was just that, I think this is because we were 2 people, that I just had hoped we would get like a little bit further. And so, but I upon like reviewing it and stuff like that, it's like, oh yeah, they had like 4 or 5 leaders, and it was just Dee and I sort of catching up a group of people that really had never been to any of the meetings before. Yeah. So, while it was awesome to have them, I think that just made it not quite as effective for us, but it did, I think, introduce us to new people like Crystalline and Allison, and like Jess got to hear a little bit of catch up and be able to sort of share our goals. So like, it's not that it wasn't effective. I just think like, I just still feel behind. That's all. Yeah. But overall, I don't know. I don't really have any like, oh, I would improve this or that, you know?
Some feedback we got was that some people wanted us to be in separate rooms because some people also said they liked that people could go between. So
Yeah, I don't know how I felt about people. I noticed people go between, and I didn't know how I felt about it. I was like, maybe it's good. I don't really know. Like, it depends on the person, right? So, like, when are they walking away, and are they missing things, key points, or you know, I think that just depends on the person. So, I did expect us to be in different rooms, and the only thing there was just that it was kind of loud.
I would have preferred for us to be in different rooms because of the volume. Like with my ADD, I got distracted quite a bit.
It was very distracting for me. Yeah.
That's all. Or been spaced further apart. So like the four corners of the room, maybe, or something like that.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
I do like the idea though of like getting a bunch of people in the room and like presenting your goals and things like that, because I do think it helped us to see where there is all that alignment between the three working groups, and it definitely built more connection, I think, amongst all of the working group leadership.
Yeah, I'd hear that.
Okay. Yeah.
Is there another, real quick, is there another like retreat planned for the working group leaders to gather, or do we need to kind of do that ourselves?
There's not one planned on our end. This working group cycle ends in October, so we might try to do another one for our next like group of leadership. May or may not be some of the same people. I don't know.
Okay.
But nothing planned on our end for you all.
All right.
We encourage and support it if you want to lead on that, and then we will do whatever we can to make it happen. So whether if you want to kind of, you know, bring the idea to life, then like I can book the conference room, or if you want to have an all day thing and you need lunch, come talk to us and we can talk about a budget. But if you want to take a lead on that, we will support you. We don't, the staff doesn't have anything planned for you all.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you, ma'am.
I would say so. Oh wait, we're still on feedback. Sorry.
Yeah, that's good. Unless there's any other thoughts. I thought that was
okay.
That's
cool.
what I was looking for.
Cool.
I have a quick question actually for Val. Val, what was it that made it so that you couldn't come? And you don't have to tell me like your personal plans. But, like, was it a conflict? Did you maybe not like everyone else in the room came, so I didn't know what made it so that you weren't there. And if it's just a personal conflict, no worries, that's totally fine. You don't need to tell me about your personal life. But I'm just wondering, like, did you hear about it? Did you know about it? Were you interested? Were you confused?
I did. I knew, and I was encouraged to go, but my schedule and things that were happening.
Yeah.
My church, at church, and I had a friend that passed away. So.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. That wasn't me trying to like berate you for not being there. I just want to know if like how did we communicate it basically? Did we get the message across? Yeah.
Yes,
thank you.
Several times.
Thank you. Thank you.
In person.
Sounds good.
There were people from the conference I thought were going to be there that weren't there. I was a little bit sad to not see them.
Yeah, same. Me too. And I don't really know like what. Like I sent it out through the newsletter. It was on the platform. We mentioned it. You know, I think you all have been in community organizing long enough to know that people go, "Oh my gosh, yeah, I'll totally be there," and then they don't. So, but I was really pleased with the turnout. But yeah, there were definitely at the conference. I was like, "Oh, people are really excited about this. Great, this is going to be a huge event," and it was a pretty big event. But yeah, it's just a matter of getting on their calendars, calling to remind them, like all those little steps.
Yeah, exactly.
I think based on the people that I spoke to invite, it was just the length of time for the summit. It was just a little long for their day.
Okay. When we were planning it too, we had a mixed thoughts on that. Like some people were like, here we go. That if you didn't schedule for the whole day, they couldn't block their day, so they would have a harder time getting there. But then other people said what you're saying, where it was like you don't want to make it too long because then they have to commit their whole day. So it was kind of hard. We just kind of had to pick something and see what people came for.
Yeah.
So yeah, when we were trying to schedule that, that's basically what we heard was either make it the whole day so they can block the whole day, or whole day's too much. So we just kind of went for it.
I mean, that's just the community, like kind of like that's
yeah.
the community organizing catch-22.
Exactly.
We hit that all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so oh wait, sorry, I got lost because I was making notes. Meeting, I talked a little bit about this with Val. And I know Dee, you wanted to bring this up, was the meeting schedule. So, and let me know if I'm off base, but I think basically that is whether we want to do like this, 1 2-hour meeting per month, or 2 1-hour meetings that are 2 weeks apart. And we essentially had kind of decided that, but a lot of the people who were around when we decided that are just not here any longer. And we wanted to make sure that like the new people who are participating, which one works for you guys. So Val, you had said.
I like the idea of having 2 meetings with a break in between, because you can set your goals, you can progress, and you can do a progress report.
And that is exactly the format that we were looking to do, was have almost like an internal meeting at the beginning or, first meeting of the month, where we talk about our goals, sort of strategy, how we want to get there. And then the second meeting is a maybe not quicker, but they're both 1 hour that hopefully more people could attend. And that is where we sort of present, like, here's what we've got done. Right. Here's where we want to go, how we want to do it, and then hopefully delegating out sort of action items, roles, and asking opinions and feedback.
Right, so one's planning and one's the checkpoint.
Yep, exactly. So that's what we were thinking, is just breaking it down into 2 smaller meetings, but both with pretty tight agendas like this, so that we can stay really on topic and just get through things, just be very efficient with our time.
Exactly.
And we were hoping that maybe we get more feedback or more input and community participation if the meeting was just a little bit shorter, because that was something we had heard from a lot of people that weren't able to participate anymore, was that 2 hours was just too big of a meeting. Jess, what do you think for you? Would you have a preference on either of those?
I like the 2 versus 1. But that's just me.
Well, it's actually just all of us. So nobody yet has said the 2-hour meeting.
Okay, sorry. Yeah. No,
I
I'm
think
here.
they both have value. I think there is something about sitting down for 2 hours and having time to fully like tease things out. But also that was what we were noticing, is that it was hard for us to invite people, almost like this meeting, because we didn't feel like we were ready to sort of present to the public, right? We felt like there was still a lot of internal work we were doing. So, okay, great. So then we decided on 2 1-hour meetings per month. And then I didn't know if there was any kind of requirement on, since we're changing it, what that would look like for in-person and virtual and things along those lines. I figured the secondary meeting, the like presentation, delegation, all of those things, that would be more like this one, but I didn't know if the first one would be held to that or not.
I would say that as long as you have 1 in-person meeting, that's kind of the important part. The other thing is, if you're doing the other one virtual, you have like somebody's taking notes so that we can get some kind of recap, especially if it's like one is open to the public and one is more internal. We definitely just need you need to have notes. You don't.
I think they can both be open to the public, but one we would promote a lot more, right? So it's not that it's like, oh, you can't be here, but we understand if this is maybe not worth your time, but not as efficient, and makes sense for you to sit through an hour of us, right, figuring stuff out, only to then be like, okay, now here's what we need from you. And that's why I just wanted to like verify, just because I don't know, I always like to figure it out ahead of time.
So can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and identify that the first meeting of the month is more recap, visitor oriented, and catch up and familiarize what's going on. and that the second meeting is more on target on our goals and what we've actually done and where we're going next.
Yeah, I think so. I think they'll both sort of follow this basic agenda, but one is more deciding and one is more.
Right, so that if we have visitors because we're looking to have more interaction. So if we have visitors that we want to invite, that we know to invite them to the first meeting of the month.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, so
No, second meeting of the month.
Second meeting. So the one like today's meeting, which is still set and that's public facing, that's the one that we're inviting visitors to.
The second meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what I wanted.
That's where maybe we're doing a little bit more like discussion and figuring things out, and that's why I say like they're open, they're welcome to come to it. But we just had found that sometimes it felt like everybody's talking inside baseball and nobody really understood. Maybe that's not the right term, but nobody understood all of the jargon and things that were going on in the meeting until the second half of it, and so that's kind of why. So that's where it would be like we would talk about maybe recap, but internal recap, and then we would still talk about recap at the second meeting, but that's more gathering from those that attended versus us that attended.
So the first one would be more virtual and the second one would be in person.
Okay. As long as that makes sense for you, that the first one can be an optional virtual. One question I did have was if there was a way that like we could still record and how we could do that, because I do like the note taker thing and stuff like that.
Depending on when we plan it for, as long as it's like fits in my schedule, I can still just do like the Zoom links. And I think that people can get on the Zoom when I'm not on it, because that happened last working group meeting. So I just don't know if you'll be able to record, but I have it on like auto recording. I don't know. We can definitely.
Yeah, and so are you talking about for the meeting? Because you said one of them is going to be virtual, right?
I think that's what most people are wanting. I kind of like it. I can do either, to be honest with you.
Well, and virtual is fine. So if you have one in person, then that like kind of satisfies our like. We think that it is valuable to have in-person meetings, and we understand the scheduling stuff, which is why like we're excited to see how you guys come up with this new schedule. If it works better for you, we might encourage other working groups to consider it too. Like at this point, for us, from like we really do want you all to kind of just like provide the leadership that you want to see and design this how you think will be most effective. But we do believe that the in-person is valuable. And so if you're going to do if your other meeting is going to be virtual, then that's really easy to record those meetings. So like the in-person ones that Savannah's already kind of scheduled to attend, then she can continue to do this. But then the other ones, if she's not there, then you all could still record that Zoom meeting if that is, what you decide to do. And we can just figure out how to get that recording to Savannah to put on the YouTube. Maybe we can even just give you the YouTube, like, secretary, if you could be responsible for that, we can figure that out. But I think that if you have your in-person meeting like this, where Savannah can record it, then great. And then your virtual one, somebody just needs to press record on the meeting.
And sorry, I don't have like a paid Zoom account, so I don't think mine records.
I have one.
And I think if I can
help
set up
that,
so we can definitely do that. And I think you
cool.
can also use Google Meet or whichever.
Awesome. That was kind of the question was like, hey, I don't know how to get that done, but I think it's still valuable to record it.
Yeah. And I think we can figure that out.
And maybe at your next coacher check-in with Savannah, you guys spend a few minutes trying to figure that out. Because like, I don't know, Savannah, if you can add them as a co-host, and then like you said, like they already don't need you to log in, but we can just like pilot that and make sure it's true. But you might be able just to add like Georgia's like SLP email as a co-host, and it might enable her to do whatever she needs to do. But I'm not sure. We just need to play with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We'll do that at our next check-in.
Cool.
Okay.
So that was kind of the main thing there, was we just wanted to get some feedback on how everybody felt about it. And then next is work plan updates. Yes.
What weeks are we going to stay on the same schedule of this second? This is the last or the fourth Thursday.
So right now we're on the fourth Thursday.
So what would your new first meeting date be? And are you starting it in March?
Definitely going to start in March. Wait, I'm looking to see, because I don't think we finalized that, to be honest. Georgia, we're still sticking with Thursdays, right? I cannot talk. We're still sticking.
Yeah, I'm good for Thursdays if that makes sense for everybody else.
I'm good.
Cool.
So then we'll look at our first internal meeting being the second Thursday.
Okay, so the 12th.
That's kind of what I was thinking too.
So that's the 12th of March would be our first internal meeting. Are you guys comfortable with it being the same time? Can we stick to 10:30, or does that not work for everybody?
I'm good for 10:30.
10:30 to
Val?
11:30.
I'm good.
You're good for 10:30, Jess?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Look at that. We got something done. Whoop, whoop.
Mm-hmm.
Going to be the second Thursday of each month at 10:30. Savannah, how do we, because I know Georgia and I prefer to meet in person. How do we set up the library meeting room?
You have to have a library account, and then you get approved. Like, you just have to have a library card, and then you have to create an application, and then they approve you, and then you can just do it online.
Okay, so I'll add that to the check-in list.
Thank you.
So that
And
we
then
still have
it's two.
a consistent.
Yeah.
What was that? I'm sorry.
The max, you can do 2 reservations a month, but that should be okay if you do one, and then I keep doing the other one or whatever. I
Perfect.
think it's
Only reason being is in case we want to have like the in-person people want to actually physically join us, at least they can.
okay.
Yeah.
And then the same time, 10:30 to 11:30 for your 4th Thursday.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
And updating that on the platform, how is that? Can we use the same like format, same flyer, same everything? Just put the different dates.
Yep. Yeah. So I can update your like the banner to change the times. But otherwise, the rest, there's no events past today's meeting posted for your
Okay.
working group on the platform. So you'll have to now post 2 for every month. And
Okay.
just clarify, like, probably in the title, like how you want to categorize them. So you can say like first meeting, or you want to call it like the internal and the external meeting, or I don't know, something that's the least confusing as possible, which is hard in this scenario to not over explain in the title of an event. But figure something how you want to call them, or you want to call them part 1 and part 2, or however you want to explain it.
Optional or mandatory. How about that?
Okay, there you go. Optional, mandatory, however you want to do it. Yeah, that works. Okay.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, and I would say get those up as soon as possible, especially if your next meeting is in like 2 weeks.
Mhm. Okay.
I'm trying to get on the platform now, but it's, so let's see.
What did we check off? What's next after we checked off the schedule?
Well, I wanted to see, do you think that you could post at least the March meetings?
Yeah, I'll be bothering Savannah about that tomorrow.
Okay, awesome. I'm gonna put that over to you then.
If I can't figure it out, Savannah, because I haven't played on there in a while.
Sorry. Someone from Maine keeps calling. I was just gonna put that in the deliverables real quick.
I'm sorry, and this was probably not even in the right space and the right place, but it just came to mind. Val and Jess, is there anything specific? So once you guys submit your application, it's going to ask on there, but I kind of want to know in advance. Because we have the treasurer role and the secretarial role. Val, which one were you more so interested in over the other?
The one that doesn't deal with money.
You can also
I'll
just
do
be the
this.
at large, but I just
I'll
wanted to
do the
sign up.
I'll do a secretarial. It's whatever y'all need, I'll do it. Don't worry.
So that's not on there as a question, but I'm gonna add it because I have it open.
Volunteer for position.
Yeah, are you interested in the secretary or treasurer position?
And I will tell you, treasurer is more like just a spreadsheet. Like you don't actually have to like write checks or anything. But it's a pre-made spreadsheet. If that makes you feel any better or interested in that, it's not too crazy.
I don't want my name on anybody's bank account.
That's yeah. So you would not. Don't worry. You would not be on the bank account. Not on writing checks. Just making sure that the numbers work.
I would make everybody put everything in writing.
Yeah, that's smart. That's wise.
That's probably why you're probably best for that job, huh?
Yeah.
Justin, do you have a preference?
Yeah, I think if Val is more comfortable, avoiding the treasury role, because when I think about treasurer, I'm like, no way, right? But I can do that. That's fine. Especially if it's just putting numbers into Savannah's Excel sheet, right?
Yeah, it's not too crazy.
Yeah, so that's fine. No, I can be the treasurer.
Thank you, Jess.
Thank you, Jess.
Sorry, I didn't mean to throw us off track there, George. I'm sorry.
No, I think that's great. I love it. And yeah, I just added those into the application just in case, and I adjusted that it says for Thursday at 10:30 a.m. On the application. So
yeah, 10:30 to 11:30.
And I'm gonna put North Tampa branch. Okay. Alrighty. The next thing we have are work plan updates. We did a little bit of that with the acre recap and feedback. Let's see. We don't have a lot of updates for it, unfortunately, because of what we've been sort of working on, which is great to get to that point. Do you have anything you want to touch on with like the working plan or the work plan?
I think for us, to be honest, based on what I was kind of like thinking through the other day, is once we get our seats filled, it'll be easier for us to kind of delegate a little bit more of these tasks rather than us continuing to pile things on and not being able to deliver on them. Because right now, like one of the projects was reaching out for the seed library, reaching out to the potential gardens and people that may be interested, those 5 people, to identify those so that we can move on the project. So I really feel like right now we're kind of at a standstill. I will reach out to some people and see, just to kind of like get a jump on it. But again, I don't want to take on too much and not be able to deliver on it. But I also don't want us to stay still. I don't want it to be frozen for a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm right there with you. I guess so. My question would be then, so we don't freeze it for a month. I guess what can we work on? I mean, obviously, promoting the application is one big thing, and then maybe just if there's a way that we can begin to just plant those seeds of buy-in. I don't know what else it would look like to not have it be at a standstill for a month. But maybe just starting to plant those seeds of buy-in, like, so letting people know, hey, we're working on this. You should really come to our April meeting. Right? And just really promoting that April or March meeting.
Yeah.
Apparently
Why? Your birthday in April? You stuck on April today.
I don't know what's wrong with me. I think I'm just really looking at it.
It's almost April, or not? Yeah, it's like it's almost March right now. Like if there's only,
I think maybe that's it. I don't know. I'm really stuck on April.
yeah, it's basically March. March starts in 2.5 days. It's
I think that's what it is.
So you're just ready for March.
I'm just
So right now, your two main projects are the tools library.
Mm-hmm.
Because one of the last meetings I came to, that was one of the ideas that we were generating.
Yep.
And from what I gather, a seed library. Are those the two projects?
I don't remember talking about a seed library, but I'm not opposed to it. I think it was.
Well, I'm just trying to catch up.
Yeah. I'm scrolling to find our.
And I only said that because I thought that just came up in our last sentence or two.
Yeah, I think the series is a part of one of the projects that we're working on in the coalition's meetings. It wasn't a part of ours. Ours was mostly focused on the central tool sharing app, but there is the other project with the coalition that's doing the seed library.
No, it was something that one of you guys just said.
Someone might have just.
Yeah, Dee said that's what she was saying. I think she said seed library, but that was because she was thinking about it with the coalition. I mean, I'm not opposed to it. We hadn't talked about it.
So what are our projects? We identified those for us for this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and that's the tool sharing, right? The tool library.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the other one? That's what my question is.
I think looking to work in conjunction on the cold storage with economic development.
Okay, cold storage partnership.
And the calendar. I opened up the presentation again. So it is the shared tools, calendar, and peer support.
Promoting those.
Yeah, so getting people say, hey, we're going to be working, on these things, and we're going to need people to help us do the action items, right? As well as participate in things like the tool library. So that's kind of what we're hoping to invite people for the March meeting for. By then, we're hoping we should have our full working group leadership team. And then we would be looking at moving forward on some of these work plans, or some of these on the work plan. Yeah, the details. Exactly, yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And let's see.
So just so that I'm clear, because right now I'm taking notes, unfortunately, on a piece of paper and not in my laptop. So the first one is definitely the tool library. Within the tool library, we're going to have the calendar and peer support. That's all one project, correct?
Yeah, I put it under grower collaboration and shared tool library. Yeah, that can be all one thing.
It would have to be because one generates the other, and the calendar supports the entire project.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Just wanted to make sure that I was processing it correctly when I'm seeing it in my brain.
Yeah.
And then my question about the second project that we talked about, because I know we had quite a few. I know was that we're going to support the cold storage, correct?
Mm-hmm.
But sorry,
Hmm?
the trash truck is sorry. I work in my garage and I have the door open, so
we can't hear it if that helps.
We didn't hear anything. So
okay. It was loud. Okay, so the other thing was we had mentioned doing the it was good Lord, I just lost it. We talked about the cold storage. There was another project, Georgia. Name the other three things that we talked about in our goals. Wait, I got the paper here.
The distribution and then partnerships. The farm steward labor network.
Is that going to be a part of peer support? Or is that separate?
I don't know, because I am still, I think, kind of confused on what that actually looks like. and
Okay.
what it is. Just because, yeah, I'm just confused on like what that looks like and what it is. My biggest concern is that we already have lots of people in the room and in the network that are growing food and not financially supported. And so my biggest concern was training more folks, and what that, like how that, I guess, what is the incentive to do that?
Okay. So we're going to, just so that I understand, we're going to drop that one for now, correct? We're taking that off of our list of things that we want to work on.
I don't know. What do you guys think?
Well,
I would
to
say
me,
yes,
one,
drop it for now.
We can also change the way that it looks. Sorry, what'd you say, Jess?
Oh, no, let Val go ahead.
to me, as like just revisiting this, it sounds more like you're talking about two different things. Well, peer support comes as a result of the projects. But what you're talking about, on this other hand, is an actual network, another sub network, where it's more it's more targeted to labor and finance. And maybe new people that are starting that need to know how to go about finding these financial opportunities, how to go about that versus just come to our meetings. That's what I'm hearing. But you guys,
I just,
decide.
yeah, I don't think any of us know yet, like how to find. Does that make sense? Like,
Yeah, I'm just saying that if you're trying to identify projects, that one sounds more as a outgrowth of one of your projects you have already, and the other one sounds like a separate project.
yeah, they are two different things, and one is like a sub category of the first one. And I opened up sort of our goals brainstorm that we did, and it did. The objective is to train and compensate 10 part-time food production workers.
Now that's
and so yeah.
So is that still something that we're working on, or are we nixing it from like the work plan?
I think we should nix it if that's how it looks, or find some, like, have it look differently, maybe.
I think
Just because. Go ahead.
No, I was saying, I think we should just nix it so we can focus our energy on something a little bit more achievable, considering our timeline. We are in February, we're in March, and we want to deliver on some things September, right?
Yep, exactly.
Okay. There was one where we were talking about doing, you just said it, I meant to write it down and then I got distracted by the fact that we were kind of working that through. That goals list again, Georgia?
So cold storage and post-harvest handling facilities. The thing we just talked about, create collaborative grower to customer distribution model.
That. I think that would be a good one for us to focus on. That would actually be doable based on our conversations with the other two groups. So I think maybe that's the one we add as our second one, like we prioritize as our second one in addition to the tool library. What do y'all think?
It's create a collaborative grower to customer distribution model. So at least from my point of view, like the thing that we've gotten the closest to doing is something like where I'm trying to get some kind of cold storage so that, Dee has mostly programming, right? That she's doing, but there is production from that programming. And we haven't gotten grants for programming, so we're having to sell a lot of our stuff, right? So we're doing more of like a retail revenue stream. And so my thought was that if we are already doing that and focusing more on that, can we sell stuff for D, right? So remove how much we're producing, or not remove it, but like give us more options, and have an opportunity for D to sell stuff without her organization having to create a whole nother section. So that's kind of what we've been looking at, and that's why there would be like that cold storage or post-harvest sort of aggregated storage. And that's what, so the thought was like refrigeration is kind of first step because that's what helps us the most, right? With waste, storing it, and then like if there is somebody, for us it's SLP right now, we're doing markets, we're doing St. Pete Saturday morning market, and we're looking at doing healthy neighborhood stores with food access.
That's what I was thinking, that you had mentioned bodegas and stuff like that.
Yeah, and then we're also doing, like, we do markets in Seminole Heights all the time, and then we're talking to Tampa Bay markets. So again, if it's something where we can sort of specialize a little bit and sort of just break up that labor, right? So that everybody can maybe just be a little bit more successful at what they're doing instead of trying to be everything to everyone all at once. That's like that thought there. That's
a market co-op.
Yeah, like a market co-op, exactly.
That's a perfect way to look at it. Market co-op. I like that.
Yeah.
And I will say that's something that economic development is also looking at. So doing something collaborative there would be wise.
Yeah, and that's where the refrigerator also comes in. So that's where,
Yeah.
So we're all trying to talk to them there and figure that out. I think one of their other goals, which is one of ours, was facilitate partnership building between growers and institutions. So sort of once that's established, finding out one of the bigger challenges, I think, with smaller farms and local food is that sometimes it either is not in volume or in variety as necessary. And so that's where this like sort of aggregation can really help. And once we have that more narrowed down, being able to approach some of these other institutions, whatever that looks like, right? Hospitals, this is hospitals, cooperative markets, schools and things like that, and seeing if that can make sense. So that's number 4. And then 5 was strengthening internal collaboration amongst growers. I may have actually edited this out. I think I did. I edited that one out because that fell into a bunch of different things like the tool library.
Thank you, Georgia. I appreciate that.
What's that now? Sorry.
I said I appreciate you recapping that because I'm looking at the little sticky notes from the meeting, and I'm like, okay, there's something I wanted to bring up. So thanks for that.
Yeah. If you have an opportunity to like if they're on those sheets of paper and you just want to like hang them up for a second, lay them down on the floor, whatever, snap a photo and upload that to the drive. I think that could be really helpful to. Because I did not know maybe where those were. So I love that you have them. And then, yeah, I think that would be really helpful to be able to also start to look at like what did we recap, or what did we what was said in the acre training and stuff, or acre summit. Alrighty. Let's see.
Do we want to look at kind of a budget so we can draft some kind of budget for these projects? Because we do need to spend the money before September. So if you have an idea of like what's costs are going to go into doing this kind of stuff or anything like that?
I don't think we do have a lot of that. I think kind of like what Dee was saying, it's like filling out those spots, and then we will have a much better understanding. I think we could like try, but I do think it's going to be a lot of throwing spaghetti at the wall as opposed to an actual draft that could be edited. I think it's going to be something that we just like scrap altogether.
We could still like flesh out some of these projects. So I know you don't have people to assign them to yet, but you can say for this growers network, we're going to need someone to coordinate. We're going to need 3 people to reach out to people, or the other thing, and you go about.
Are there parameters to this budget, like X% for administrative, X% for tools, X%?
That is what we'd be figuring out.
Is that what we're going to do in the proposal?
That would be kind of up to the working group. Basically, we have $10,000 to $15,000 that can be used to support these projects. You just have to tell us how you want to spend it and what's going to go to each.
Well, Okay.
So it's pretty much up to the working group, yeah, how y'all want to spend it. But if we want to, kind of get more specifics on these plans and kind of so that when you do have people, you can start assigning people or recruiting people to do that. We can get some more specifics, or just figure out what the steps are going to be. So tool library, you need to get someone's going to inventory everyone's stuff, or who wants to share things, or where it's going to be, and kind of get the steps for each of those things. Yeah, something like that.
And something that you all might want to consider as timing, like as our timeline does approach, is maybe something like a feasibility study or something that is like a prereq to this that might be useful. Because there are like food system consultants that can do a feasibility study, and it might cost a few $1,000s, but that might help you create a better roadmap for the next funding cycle. Also, kind of like Savannah said, like there's kind of like little tasks that could help build for, because the reality is, like, I think between now and September, having like a tool library is probably just very fast. But there's things that could be done in the meantime. It also might just be like having some kind of like outreach event, like find a venue and try to get, like set a goal to have 25 people come and talk about it. Like that costs a little bit of money. Maybe that would be a good, useful thing. So, with the reality of just the calendar, I think that smaller bites might be most effective way to do it, or we can plan for next funding cycle. Who knows?
Okay, that's a good idea. Because I know like we started the tool library, like we talked about. We have the applications already created. I think it's just a matter of identifying, so kind of like having the groundwork for that completed. Okay. I'm gonna make sure I come better steps for it for the next meeting.
Okay. Because I have in the in the drive your work plan that you kind of created, but I don't know. Do we want to build on that? I know there's this one, and there's also I think this is the one that is like the more like final. Do we want to go through?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm
look at that.
I'm gonna share my screen so everyone can see what I'm talking about. Actually, let me hold on. Let me move it separate so that I can have it on this other screen for everybody here. Okay. Don't make me quit things. I just want this to go away. Okay. So we're going to share this screen.
Okay. I think it's pretty unedited.
Okay. Well, feel free to edit it while we're talking.
Yeah.
Because it'll be real time here. I'm gonna have to close some stuff on my Chrome. But we can work off of this to get those more specific tasks. See what needs to be done. So you guys can see this, right? You should be able to. This is what you kind of already put together, was the action items for this cold storage and post-harvest infrastructure. We can edit this. We can get more specific. What do we want to put on here?
So I thought we were going to go ahead and let the other group, economic development, work on cold storage.
Okay, so we'll just.
Well, I think the next step would be checking in with them and seeing where they are.
Okay.
Let's share that with them and see where they can fit.
Yeah. So that's some of like what happened at the Acre Summit is that a lot of these steps were, I don't know, reworked and things like that.
Okay. So I'm just gonna highlight this then as our new item. So check in with them, see what steps they have planned. I don't want to delete this in case you want to talk to them about it. Okay, so then do you want to look at, okay, this is still for the cold storage. So Harvest Hub distribution model.
So that was sort of like the aggregated storage.
Okay, so that's the co-op. Okay, so this is that co-op.
So I would say action items are, we have some assessment of distribution challenges, right? Time, personnel, things like that. And then I would say instead of maybe develop a shared spreadsheet, we should develop more of like, what does that process look like? A workflow, exactly. So, that can, like, I guess that sometimes I feel a little bit awkward about it because I just feel like I have it very SLP centered. And so, but what that would look like is maybe, yeah, go ahead.
No, if you envision it as a workflow, what you're trying to do is take this octopus and try to bring it into a more lineated
Snake
system, right?
Yeah. Yep. So step one, I guess, would be identifying who is growing, who can have aggregated storage, or identify who is growing and who is already plugged into retail operations, sales channels, whatever.
And who needs us?
And who is looking to
benefit
participate, not on that retail.
So they do want to participate in retail?
Yeah, but not as the retail person.
Okay.
So like,
yeah,
like as a supplier. So like as far as who has retail operations, that would be like SLP, and then D is somebody who's looking to participate but not necessarily have her own like retail thing going on.
Okay.
Right. So it's more of like supporting those.
Okay. So that first step is just to identify who's growing, who's already plugged in, and who's looking to participate. Then what?
Then we want to look at how we're going to communicate retail. So for us, like there's specific retail dates, right? It's not like we're just open all the time like a grocery store. And then how we want to communicate like who has what and when sales are happening.
So learning how to communicate when sales occur and who has what produce available.
Okay. And then to me, the reasonable next step is a system of like how pricing is determined. So I talked to Dee a little bit, like if she had mustard greens, let's say, my greens are $5 a bunch. So unless hers are significantly lower, like $2.50 or something like that, or finding a way essentially that, yeah, if hers are like $2.50, I would probably just bump them up. And right now, what we have the capacity to do is to sell on consignment.
Okay.
So I don't have the capacity to buy wholesale, but I do have like consignment options. And so figuring out what that looks like. And so what I kind of presented was like, it would look like just adding on maybe 20% to the price So usually with wholesale, it's 30 to 40%. And then just having some regulations in there for if there are huge price differences, right? So if I have mustard, or if I have kale for $5 and her mustard greens are $2.50, I might say, hey, do you mind if I bump that up a little bit? Whereas I think if she had something that was, let's say hers are $7 for whatever reason, and that's the price that she needs. So if it is below the average of that retail category, then we might bump it up. And if it is above, then we leave it alone because they've already stated that's the price that they need to achieve.
So you want to identify a market price and set a pricing standard?
Yeah, but I think it needs to be something along those lines because of how many different options we are all going to have. I think it would be maybe too intense to try to say, each vegetable, but have something like that. So have some kind of system that says like, if you're below the average market price, then we would hope, just so that we're not also like undercutting each other, right? And that's what I'm saying is like if we're selling something at $2.50 and another thing at $5 and they're essentially both greens, and the mustard greens are the only thing that are at that price, that makes it a little bit harder for the person who's doing the retailing, right? But I also didn't want to force people into lower prices, right? So let's say that she has arugula or spinach or something that was harder for her to do and she wants to sell it at a higher price, and then if that is the minimum, that's that, or the, you know what I mean, then that's her minimum. And that way we're not telling people like you have to lower your prices. We're only maybe increasing so that the overall view makes sense, right? Like so that there's a consensus on pricing. I don't know the best wording for it. I'm sorry.
Just make sure I'm like capturing what you're trying to say. So
yeah.
Identify, determine fair pricing, but only really increasing if needed, but then adding 20% for the retailer. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so is that like the type of fee that the person would take?
I just was throwing 20% out there.
Okay. Is that the cost of operation?
I don't have an exact cost of operation because a lot of these markets vary and we vary a lot, and a lot of these things are not fully in existence. So there's not really an opportunity to figure out that. I just kind of based it off of wholesale pricing, what they do. So like what Meacham does is whatever your price is, they are going to mark it up by 30 to 40% when they sell it. Since there's less risk on consignment than there is for wholesale, I brought it down to 20.
Okay.
So that's where that came from, but I don't have anything else.
That's over wholesale.
Yeah, 20% over wholesale. Or, so if Dee says, hey, I have to get $4 a bunch on this kale, then yeah, that's kind of, we make sure that she gets $4 a bunch.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So this sounds like essentially creating a food hub, right? And whether, that's what I'm hearing, right? And it's how like creating a food hub for these producers to aggregate their food and then sell, right?
Somewhat, yeah. I think
Very
it's a
miniature version.
I wouldn't say, I think it's a really, really miniature version.
Okay.
Because we're targeting
like for like markets.
Yeah, I would say so far we're really targeting small organizations. Who we mostly talked about was like me, Dee, and Kenny, right? Kenny has a really hard time selling a lot of his stuff at the high school. But sometimes like we have inconsistent labor, and so it'd be great for me to be able to say like sell some of his stuff for him.
I got you.
Yes, it is, but it's a really, really small version of a food hub. Like we're not including.
It's a pilot.
Yeah, it's a pilot. It's not as, and it's mostly, yeah, going to markets.
It's like no infrastructure really besides maybe cold storage.
Yeah. Or like, yeah, exactly.
More like establishing your customer base and
Yeah, like,
helping sales for small.
yeah, it's sort of, I don't think it's looking to be like the main funder of anything or revenue stream. It's more of a like problem solving, right? So none of us are really producing, I think, in the amount and variety to like fully go to market. And then also, though, there's other organizations that have like D and Kinney and so that have excess produce. It's not going anywhere, and could be a revenue source for them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
So I see how it looks like Food Hub.
Yeah, in my head
It's just much smaller.
or like a CAS kind of package deal is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, we could do something like that. We looked at that. I think it was because we don't have cold storage, the easiest thing for us to do is go to markets. So spreading that out a little bit more.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're trying to, I think, just work within like the parameters of like what we do have.
Okay, because I was thinking in my head, like, what is the like online infrastructure that we could look into, yeah, I'm trying to figure out how this is going to operate on the
Yeah.
ground.
Same. We are too, I think.
Yeah.
So one thing I know we talked about is like, I know our website, we have an online store. So I have potential there, but that was kind of sort of where we had gotten to. I think the other thing that happens is we're kind of tailoring some of these objectives to who's in the room, because that's who's here, and so we're solving our own problems, and that's where I think it also can begin to look like a little bit narrow-minded or narrowed, but it's because there just haven't been a lot of other folks here to give their input. So we mostly were solving sort of the issues that we were coming up with.
I got you.
Yeah, I think we're happy to like work through, I think, what does this look like? And that's kind of what we're talking about. It doesn't have to be what I'm saying at all. I just was saying what I envisioned.
Oh yeah, I was just trying to, I was like, oh, this is sounding like a food hub,
Yeah, no, I also thought that. And also when I read through all of our goals, I was like, this is essentially a food hub.
But I think that is also part of that is that market co-op. You know what I mean? So that's more what it sounds like to me, like the cooperative growing aspect of it.
Yes.
So instead of developing and calling it a hub, we'll put that underneath and this is in my head, so y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. Put this under the market co-op, the grower to consumer distro project.
I think we've talked, or I talked about this I was like, why doesn't Tampa, or Monica and I were speaking about this, but Tampa doesn't have a co-op, right? Like I can't think of one co-op in Tampa Bay.
That was one of our identified, I guess, issues, is that there's like all this work happening in isolation.
Yes.
So yeah, that was one of the things that we kind of identified, is that everybody is doing lots of work in isolation.
But like Dee said, that's market co-op. I think just framing it under like, now I'm just thinking of possible grants. All right, I'm going off topic. You guys can keep going. But
no, I mean, that's where we do want to go. We do want to look at grants and things like that, because right now that is one of our biggest struggles, right? I think like I looked at sort of the overall goals for food production and economic development, a lot of it had to do with essentially economic development for producers. And somewhat the same thing with food access, because one of the reasons that it's not as accessible is because it's not subsidized in the same way that a lot of our other stuff is, right? So that's kind of, we are all trying to kind of solve. Essentially, one of the main problems is that producers' work is not valued, or that there is not the equity for everybody to have access to the food. And that all comes down to almost like the same issue, which is funding.
Yeah.
Not everyone can purchase it. And if not everybody can purchase it, then producers
Can't sell it.
can't sell it.
Yep.
So yeah, when I looked at everybody's thing, it was like overall, the number one thing that I can see is subsidizing small farms in the same way. I mean, we can't do it on a national scale because that's not who we are right now, but subsidizing small farms in the same way that we've subsidized, soy, corn, and rice, right? Like grains. So sorry, it is like, it's a little bit hard because we're trying, like the root problem is really, really big. So we're just trying to see like, what can we do to get a little closer to that, because it is only until September, right? So
Do you want to move on from this section, or we feel like, so also, I know that like, I don't know if you were just assuming you're going to be the retailer, or do we want to actually like see, identify it, or try to get a spot in another market?
I was trying to be as like
I know.
fair as possible, but like also I would really like it to go that way, and I would be kind of sad if it didn't, to be honest with you, to do all this work and then be like, here you go to somebody else.
Yeah.
So
I just didn't want to assume that it was going to you if you didn't like want that extra work, or I don't.
No, we are just looking for, like everybody, we are looking for any revenue stream that we can find.
Okay, so we don't need to identify a retail operator.
We're just trying to be really objective with it.
That's fine. That's like,
but if there are no objections, then I'm happy to go ahead and put SLP as that,
I don't think the location itself is going to be anything that's going to create a barrier or an objection, as long as you have all the administrative part and the workflow and everything is understood, so it doesn't create animosity between.
That's why I was trying to lay all of this stuff out and be more objective with it and say identify, because I wanted to leave that open for anybody to.
I think you're in a good spot. I think your accessibility is good. I think you already have a lot of the basics that's needed. You have experience that you can help us, and the next closest thing of that scale would be in downtown. So
exactly, and there's a few other things that we've been working on to sort of increase our appeal as a retail host site. So we're looking at getting like a renewable compost drop off, a couple different things, but yeah, we're super centrally located. We're on bus routes, as well as we have a couple schools nearby. So one of the things that I've been looking at is like moms picking up kids, and just being on like a huge thoroughfare that if you've ever been at SLP at 5 to 6 p.m., the cars are stopped. Like, I think if we had people that just walked up to the window, we would be selling vegetables, And so, and I think one of our biggest issues with why we are not necessarily having that take off, especially right now, is like the freeze. We lost a lot of stuff. It sucked. We really put it out there, and then the freezes came. And so now it's like, well, we just have greens. People are like, well, what do you have? And it's like, just greens. But I have been developing, outside of vegetables, relationships with, a honey producer, flower producer, compost drop off, and sort of sort of kind of, I guess, like Meacham did, right? Like, what are all the reasons that we can get people to be showing up here? And that is where I think SLP does have some of that strength to be a retail host site, is like my experience with markets and understanding sort of those habits of people and how to create that. And we are a little further from downtown. Like, I've had a lot of people in the area say, like, it's just too far for them. They don't want to go down there. They want something closer. So
Well, I think as a co-op, you have more control over pricing, because remember, your goal is to make it available. And at $10 a dozen eggs, it's not available. I don't care how good it is. You know, if you don't have the funds to spend that kind of money, then you can be there all you want, but you're not making it available. So as a co-op, that expense is spread out, and you can bring that price.
I think that's where we sort of differ from being a co-op, is we're not really sharing in expenses in those ways. Like, yeah, like if you guys want to help buy some of my chicken food, then maybe we can lower those egg prices. But that's not kind of what's happening, right? So I don't know what that would look like in our particular thing, if you want to show me more of like what that would look like. But I don't think that there is a lot of expense sharing, right? And that's why there is that sort of 20% markup, is that there's not an expense sharing. I am carrying the multi-million-dollar liability policies and things along those lines that cover us. So yeah, if a co-op is something that we want to look into, I think that would be interesting, but I do think that would probably be for the next leadership round, just because I don't know that that would be something we could do on this timeline. And that's where I think, but if there is something that where we do all have some, you know, a product that is comparable over, you know, all over each grower, that's where I wanted to identify like how we can work together on pricing. You know, and that's where that pricing on the eggs comes from, is like the other. So we actually have the best price on the eggs. If you go to Meacham or Travis, they're $12.
Joe, that's what I was talking about the last time we visited.
Yeah, mine are $10 a dozen. Theirs are 12.
Theirs were, well, at the time.
And so yeah, so but I agree with you, and that's where I'm hoping that, again, if we have more kale, so something we look at a lot, and this is what kind of what I mean is my retail experience is, so like when we go to markets and let's say we have our house plants, I have a ton of monsteras right now, and they're an easy sell. So depending on the day, I might mark them all the way down to 10, and sometimes I can get them at 20, but I want to move them, right? And so that's where like sort of instead of each one of us having to develop that amount of like experience and knowledge and skill set, that's something where we can kind of come together and decide as a group. That's why I was kind of loose with sort of how that pricing looked, is because it's all just based off of me, right? That doesn't have input from any of you guys. And that's why I was putting it like that, was thinking through what were going to be potentially some speed bumps that we would hit, and then hopefully by bringing that to the group, we can begin to determine market price. Does that make sense? Okay, because that's exactly, we want it to be fair. We want you to ask all of these questions and make it as fair as possible. But I don't think that the co-op sort of cost sharing is something that we have right now. Instead, it's more like we're trying to see if each of us have resources that we can share with each other without a monetary exchange.
Yeah, I didn't expect to have cost sharing.
Oh, okay.
That's not what my point was.
Yeah. And something that I think would be really cool to look at is like EBT acceptance. We explored that some last year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I missed what Val said. I'm not really hearing her.
Oh,
We were just talking about accessibility is not only location, but also pricing.
Oh yeah, I definitely heard that part, but your last comment is what I didn't hear. Sorry.
Oh, then I didn't think when we talked about a co-op or coming together, I didn't expect to be
Maybe just exploring it,
cost
'cause it
sharing.
takes a little while to get it.
Sharing expenses.
Okay.
Part of
I did
what
try
you-
last year, we just didn't get it accepted.
Got you. And Savannah, I have a quick question because I was gonna try to do it, but I don't know how. So based on what we mentioned or we talked about on initiative 4, can we strike through that? Like, is there a way to strike that? Like, just leave it there, but have those lines through it?
This one?
No. Objective 4 or initiative number 4. So further down.
Oh.
Sorry, I know we're not there yet, but I think we agreed in the prior. Yeah, that one.
There is a way for me to do strike through. I just have to remember where it is. I forget where it is on here. I always.
It's under more. Nope, JK. Nope, I don't know.
I'll figure.
The other way that I do it, Savannah, is right where it says editing.
Oh,
Go into suggesting.
it's all highlighted now. Okay.
Yep, and then basically, while it's all highlighted, just erase it, and then it'll all be struck through.
Oh, I see.
I don't know another.
Excuse me. I'll figure out how to strike through. Like, oh, is it? No. I'll figure that out how to do that. But for now, it's.
Okay. I just didn't want to highlight it and leave it kind of weird. Perfect. Thank you. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Okay. So is this where we're kind of leaving it for this section?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
I think can we set a goal or I don't know what y'all want to really call it, something for the next meeting? Can we set something that we're gonna, like, somebody's gonna work on something towards something so that we can keep things moving? Is there anything we need to identify, any research that needs to be done? That type of thing. Because I feel like, we're stuck in the idea turning mode, whereas there's less doing, and I know we're still getting our people, but is there something that each of us that are here today would like to take on out of the 2 things that we talked about so far, to do?
Yeah, so here on our agenda, we have our deliverables for the next meeting, so we can put those on here. What we already have is meeting with Crystal Lynn, asking her to fill up that application. This is for the application stuff, but then what do we want to add for those, the stuff from the work plan we were just talking about?
Let me go to the top one. I think that for that one, we're just going to check in with, for initiative 1, we're just going to check in with Nicole's group, as to where they are with it, so that we can get an update and kind of just see how we can best search or serve, partner, whatever it is, whatever word you use.
And that meeting's already scheduled for March 3rd for all the co-chair meeting. I don't know if I sent out an email, and I don't know if everyone got it because I did it in reply to a calendar event, but I had put out there that what we could do is use essentially this meeting template, and for old business, like each working group could fill out some things so that we have an agenda. But yeah, so that next thing is happening on March 3rd.
I personally don't have that on my, so I don't know where that invite went to, so I'll have to look through my emails to try to find it.
Okay, I'll send it to you now as well. And then what if we could have, it's a little bit hard to give full on, I guess, what's the word? Delegations, just because we don't know who is actually coming to the next meeting. Nobody's fully committed just yet, but if we could identify maybe, 1 to 2 organizations or people that would be producers, yeah, interested in providing or participating, whichever. Basically, like kind of like Kenny D, like yeah, who else could we right? So since we don't really have a plan yet, we can't ask them, but knowing, coming back to the table with 1 to 2 people, or and that can even look like inviting them to the meeting, actually, to make that more of a like,
I like that.
yeah, cool.
And Savannah, I don't have access, of course, to the Homegrown Hillsborough Google Drive, but I feel like I created a list of all of the local farms and gardens that are
I
somewhere.
think it's in the what do you call it, the handbook.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I think so. I think you have a local. Yeah, I think that is in the handbook. I don't know how to immediately get to it.
Okay, just
I
when
could
you get a
probably-
chance, can you just email that to me? You don't have to do it now.
Yeah, I was trying to see if I could get it to pop up quickly on my computer, but I don't
Or
think
I
so.
can look for it too, right?
Yeah, I know it's well. Actually, it's on our website. What am I talking about? Hillsborough.com. Oops, no, not Home Goods.
If there was like an Excel sheet,
Let's see. So it's under resources and view or download our handbook. So yeah, actually, you guys could be utilizing this. Jess made a beautiful. Let me get their little map to. Here's our production concepts. Oh, here we go. Direct to consumer farms.
Cool.
Page 30 something.
I think what we'd be looking for is those would be options, but I think a more effective target would be those that are not already doing direct to consumer, right?
Smaller operations.
Yeah, because if they're already doing it, unless we really have something to offer them, I don't know why they would participate.
I got you.
Was there another one with like gardens, or is this what you were talking about, Jess?
I think it was an Excel sheet, that was like on the back end, not facing
Okay.
the public.
I will see what I can find because I do have access to all of our old stuff. Okay, I'll look for that.
Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, like we have a little less than 15 minutes left. Just a heads up.
Is it just like we're each going to try to identify 1 to 2 people? I'm just trying to figure out who is going to do that part. Are we each going to try to identify 1 to 2 organizations, or is that one person's task?
That's what I was thinking, that we would each identify 1 to 2 organizations interested in participating, and then invite them to the March meeting.
Okay,
And
cool.
if they can't make it or whatever, you can always report back for
I
them.
would say, yeah, or at least just making them aware, right? So I was just working off of like this plan, and step 1 is like identify participants.
For the next March meeting.
Yeah.
March the 12th, I think it was.
Yep, March 12th.
Okay.
Yep, March 12th. D, you are on this calendar invite, and I was wrong. It's not the 3rd, it's the 2nd of March.
Okay, I'll have to look on my phone, on that other phone. I'm not on that phone. I'm looking at.
Okay.
I'll look for that date.
It's on Monday.
It's from Amanda, if that helps.
All right, thanks.
Here, I'm gonna forward it to you. I'm not the organizer, so I don't know if that, you know what I mean, like what it'll do.
What it'll look like. But I'll check. I didn't see anything like next week at all when I scanned my thing, but I was literally scanning really quickly, so I'll definitely double check that. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
Any other deliverables for our next meeting?
I think that's pretty good for right now. I don't know about you guys. I don't have the capacity to take on too much more because there's already meeting with Crystalline and chatting with her, reviewing the application. So that actually needs to be put on there as well. I'll add it. Review. So Dee and I will be reviewing the applications.
And we're gonna review that for the what is that? The last meeting, the last Thursday.
So for the
that's for the last Thursday meeting in March.
Yes.
Cool. I just wanted to put it on there so that we don't forget that it's like a thing to do.
Yep.
Okay. So next month's meetings will be March 12th virtually, and then March 26th in person. Here at the North Tampa Branch Library. Okay. Okay. Anything else before we do the meeting evaluation?
I don't think so. I think I'm yeah.
Okay.
I'm good.
Okay, so for those who haven't been in a meeting or haven't been in a meeting in a while, we evaluate all of our meetings by looking at kind of just asking people how it went to see if we're staying on task or if we're being productive and how we can improve in the future. It's for all of the voting members. So right now our voting members are T and Georgia, but I would be happy to get a rating from Val and Jess as well.
Yeah, I like that.
So, and so what we do is kind of like 1 through 5, how do you feel about it? And it includes kind of everything that went on. So not just rating yourself, but rating the whole meeting. So for participation, Dee, how would you rate us 1 through 5? Did people participate?
I would say 4.
4.
Well, maybe a few bucks. That's all. Sorry.
I think it was 5. I think everybody stepped in and made comments.
I say 5.
What do you think, Jess?
Sure, 5.
Right. What about achievement? Did we accomplish what we set out to do, Dee?
5.
Georgia?
I don't think we had a lot set out to do. So 5. We did accomplish it.
What do you think, Val?
I think you move forward, so that's a 5.
Yeah, right?
Jess?
Yeah, 5.
About listening, were we focused and mindful? What do you think, Dee?
What'd you say? Huh? I'm just kidding.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
I really wasn't sure.
Yeah,
I
I
was
took that
like, I
serious.
don't know if this is a joke.
That was good.
I would say 5.
What do you think, Georgia?
Yeah, 5. I think we were pretty focused, especially in comparison.
What do you think?
I could have been more focused, but that's because I'm not feeling well. So I give myself like a 2, but I give y'all a 5.
And for scheduling, what do you think, Dee? Did we stick to our agenda and use our time wisely?
I think we did. I would go 4.
All right. Georgia?
5.
I do 5 because you settled up some questions you had.
Yeah, we got further than I thought, so that's why.
What do you think?
We did. I think we could always improve with scheduling, so let's go 4.
Thank you, guys. We appreciate that. All right. Anything else? You want to close it up?
You want me to close it out?
Yeah, you already do.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. I haven't really done this. I don't remember.
That's it.
But thanks, everybody. And we will see you guys March 12th, 10:30, virtual or in person, all right? And I do really we really, really appreciate Val and Jessica, you guys coming and joining us. So thank you guys so much.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all. And invite a friend. Feel free to invite a friend or two for the next meeting.
Love it.
Yeah.
Good meeting, guys. Talk to you later.
Deliverable.
All right, bye guys. Thank you.
Bye. Feel better, Jeff.
Thank you.